Carlos Alcaraz pulls out of Queens and Wimbledon because of his injury.
April 14th, Barcelona. One routine serve return, and a bolt of pain rips straight up Carlos Alcaraz's right wrist. He wins the match anyway, smiles, waves to the crowd. Then the next morning, he tells the world the truth he couldn't say on court. He can't go on. And here's the part that should chill you. At 22, a career Grand Slam already locked away, the most explosive body tennis has ever built, just began switching itself off. Madrid, gone. Rome, gone. Roland Garros, where he's a two-time king, gone. Wimbledon, gone. Then 2 full months without striking a single ball. The longest layoff of his life. And the one man who spent 7 years keeping that body in one piece was nowhere to be found. So tell me right now in the comments, when a once-in-a-century talent breaks down this young, who do you blame? The kid, the calendar, the family cashing the checks? One word. And if you want the truth the big channels are too scared to source, subscribe, because we don't deal in fairy tales here. This isn't an injury update, it's a warning. Carlos Alcaraz is 23 and he's already carrying the kind of mileage that ends careers a decade early. Bodies don't break like this by accident. They break under load, and since he was a teenager, somebody's been piling that load higher and higher. Juan Carlos Ferrero knew that body better than any person alive. 7 years studying its limits. He was the one who'd plant his feet and say the word nobody in Carlos's circle wanted to hear. No, enough, stop. And the day Ferrero walked away, that word left with him, and a 19-year-old's engine got left screaming at full throttle with no one's hand left near the brake. So what happens to the fastest machine ever built when you fire the only mechanic who knew when to ease off? You're watching it happen in real time, and it all traces back to the year he turned 19. Rewind to 2022. Carlos is 19 and the sport's just been handed a comet. US Open champion, world number 1, the youngest man ever to hold that ranking. Overnight, he isn't just a player, he's an industry, sponsors, exhibitions, a Netflix crew, an academy with his name going up on a gate, and every one of those things runs on the exact same fuel. Carlos, on a court, on camera, again and again and again. From the year he turned 19, the machine around him started asking for more than any 19-year-old body should have to give. For a while, the body just said yes. Then it started saying no. 2024, a forearm injury that gutted him. In his own docuseries, he got emotional reliving it. A full week of rest and still, in his own words, feeling awful and scared it wouldn't come back. Ferrero remembers it more bluntly. Carlos, he says, has always struggled to handle physical problems. When the cramps first hit him as a kid, the reaction was instant. No, I can't play, impossible. It was a tear in the forearm, and here's the tell, he played Madrid on it anyway, saying out loud he didn't trust the arm at 100% and went out swinging regardless. That's the pattern in miniature. Hurt, and on court anyway. This was never a body built to grind. It's a body built to detonate. There's a difference, and it's the whole story. Barcelona broke him again in 2026, and this time it didn't stop. He won his opening match, felt the wrist, and the news only got worse from there. More serious than anyone expected. Out of Madrid, out of Rome, out of Roland Garros, out of Wimbledon. 4 majors and masters, stops erased, with no comeback anyone would dare date until the North American hard courts in late summer. By mid-June, it had hardened into the grimmest stat of his career, roughly 2 months without striking a single ball, his longest layoff ever, the wrist guard only just coming off. And it was the second spring running that Barcelona wrecked him. A year earlier, he'd hurt himself in that same tournament's final and lost Madrid to it then too. The same event, the same body, the same breakdown. That's not a cursed draw, that's a tally. Go back to the 2024 ATP Finals and the warning light was already on. Carlos showed up to practice, lasted 5 minutes, and stopped, chest tight, struggling to breathe. Ferrero told reporters he'd be lucky to hit 100%. The team didn't pull him. Fans watching called it exactly what it looked like: mismanagement. A sick 21-year-old pushed toward the court because the calendar said so. One data point, fine. But hang on to it, because a shape is forming. So who keeps feeding this body to the schedule? Greg Rusedski said the quiet part on the record this spring, and he didn't blink. The gap between Carlos and Sinner, he argued, isn't talent, it's management. Sinner doesn't overplay exhibitions. His preparation is surgical, almost boring. Carlos is everywhere all the time, and when the rest and the recovery don't come, Rusedski warned, the injuries arrive on schedule. The wrist proved his point in real time. 6th match in 8 days, straight off a Monte Carlo final, and the joint gave out. The blueprint isn't even hidden. Sinner plays his one big money exhibition, the Six Kings Slam in Saudi, then vanishes to train in silence. Tight, controlled. Same talent ceiling as Carlos. Opposite philosophy on what a body's allowed to spend. One man treats the calendar like a loaded weapon he respects. The other treats it like an open bar that never closes. Layer on the part nobody films. The matches are only half the mileage. There's the brand to feed, the docuseries, the sponsor days, the exhibition circuit that pays in millions and costs in tendons, the new academy that needs its face on a banner. Every one of those is a withdrawal from the same account, and that account is one 23-year-old's body. Sinner guards that account like a miser. Carlos spends it like it's bottomless. None of that fills itself. Somebody books the days, signs the appearances, green lights the next exhibition. And the deeper question isn't whether Carlos says yes. A 23-year-old chasing greatness always says yes. It's who keeps handing him the credit card and who profits when he swipes it. This is where Ferrero's exit stops being gossip and turns physical. For 7 years, he was the break, the cold, stoic voice in a hot kid's ear, the one who preached that being a professional means knowing when to work, when to rest, when to shut it all down. And the second he was gone, listen to what Rusedski said out loud. Lopez is doing a great job, but that extra voice from Ferrero might have been the difference on this very injury. That's people who actually know this sport, saying the missing man might have kept the body in one piece. That's the reveal hiding in plain sight. Not a quote anyone handed us, a consequence anyone can see. Proof that break got used exists, and it's dated, February 2023. Ferrero decided he'd skip the South American swing and hand it to his own old mentor, sparing Carlos a grinding stretch of clay so early in the year. Clay reports the father didn't take it well. That single decision set off a heated argument between the two men. The earliest documented clash between coach and father wasn't about money, and it wasn't about the academy. It was about the coach trying to lighten the load and the father wanting the tour played. The whole war, in one snapshot, 3 years before the divorce. Look at who finally pushed that man out, though. Follow the chain. Outlet after outlet in Spain reported the rift was never really Carlos versus Ferrero. It was Ferrero versus the father, over how the whole career gets run. Reports describe tension that gradually wore the entire team down, season after season, until it hit a point of no return. Clay said it flat, it's hard enough to coach a player, far harder to coach one with his entire family in tow. The father, the brothers, all of it. The father runs the business, the academy, the commercial engine that keeps the calendar packed and the brand climbing. So when you ask who's been deciding how hard and how often that body gets pushed, the honest answer stopped being the coach a long time ago. Now, is that the same thing as destroying his body? Pump the brakes. That's the leap the internet is begging you to take, and it's the exact line we don't cross. Here's the honest counterweight, and it's a heavy one. Nobody, not Ferrero, not Rusedski, not one doctor on record, has said Carlos's father damaged his body. That's not a finding. It's a story people want to be true, and it slams into a wall of facts. Carlos chooses to play every single point like it's the last one he'll ever hit. That's not the father, that's him, his own words. Ever since he was a kid, he's needed to give it everything or nothing clicks. He signed his own schedule. He cashed in on his own brand. He's got a full medical and fitness crew around him. This isn't a kid left to fend for himself. And the broken body in question just finished the career Grand Slam at 22, the youngest man in the Open era ever to do it. The father? One sentence the whole time. Everyone's free to form their own opinion. That's not a man caught in the act. It's a man going quiet while strangers write him a villain arc. And bodies break at the top no matter who's steering. Sinners miss time. Nadal lived in the treatment room. This sport eats its best for breakfast. Pinning all of it on one father is the easy story, the clickable one. It isn't the true one, and the true one is the only kind we're willing to sell. But here's why the question refuses to die. asterisks and all, because we have watched this exact movie before. Rafael Nadal played a game so violent on his own frame that his foot and his knees quit on him years before his tennis did. The greatest engine the sport ever built, playing finals on a foot numbed by injections just to get him onto the court, dragging a body that paid full price for every ounce of that effort until it finally outvoted his will and he walked away at 38. Carlos plays the same way, maybe harder, and he's doing it now with the calendar turned up and the one man who knew when to say enough, watching from a golf course in Spain. So the real question was never whether his father took a hammer to his body. It's whether anyone left in that camp has the nerve to protect it. And that one, so far, nobody's answered. Strip it all the way down. What did Ferrero's exit actually reveal? Not a confession, not a father with a scalpel. It revealed a machine, a calendar, a brand, an academy, an appetite that's been running a young body red hot since he was 19, and the one man whose whole job was to tap the brakes is gone. That's the honest version. The father didn't break Carlos's body, but the system the father runs was never once built to protect it. That should scare you more than any villain story, because a villain you can fire. A system just keeps billing the body until the body stops paying. Carlos is 23. He's already lost a half season, 2 majors in the wreckage, to a wrist that didn't get enough rest. He's got a career slam, a fortune, and a calendar that doesn't care about either. Nadal showed us where this road ends. Injections, surgeries, a farewell the body forced before the will was ready. The only question left is how far down that road Carlos gets before someone in his camp finally says the word Ferrero used to say, enough. Here's where you come in. Give me your over/under. How many more Grand Slams does that body have in it before it breaks for good? Over or under 5? Drop your number in the comments and defend it. I'll be reading. I'll pin the call that ages the best. And if you want the next breakdown built the same way, sourced, honest, no invented quotes, no cheap villain, subscribe. The easy channels will sell you a monster. We'll show you the machine.